Hi everyone, it's Laura here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you how to create a cute Christmas card with the Oh Kitty Tree stamp set by Mama Elephant. I am a little bit late with sharing this video. The card went up on my blog on the 19th of March, so it's been over 2 weeks now, but I finally got around to sitting down, editing and recording the voiceover. I created this card to join Jen Shirkus in her Get Cracking on Christmas series. This is a monthly event and the purpose is to start creating a stash of Christmas cards so that when December comes we are not too much in trouble. And also it's a way to keep using those adorable Christmas stamp sets that we haven't used a lot or at all. The Oh Kitty Tree stamp set by Mama Elephant is an example of that. I bought it last season and I haven't used it before making this card, so I was really happy to be able to give it some love. I love creating Christmas cards and this is a great occasion to keep doing it throughout the year. You can join too and you can share your creations with the hashtag #GetCrackingOnChristmas or share them on Jen's blog, and you will be also entered to win a prize that Jen is donating every month. You still have some time to join, so you guys get cracking on Christmas too. Moving on to the card, I started by die cutting some Neenah Solar White 110 pounds cardstock using the Mama Elephant Cloud9 dies. The die creates this lovely stitched detail all around the card front and cuts a rectangle that is already 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, which is the size of my card base as well. I used Pebble Grey alcohol-proof ink by Spectrum Noir to stamp my images, and I'm coloring them with different shades of warm greys with my Illustrator markers, so alcohol-based markers. I wanted to create a little bit of contrast between the image and the background, in the sense that I wanted the image to be a little bit warmer and the background to be a little bit cooler, and this is why I also used the warm grey to stamp the images instead of going for the traditional black. As I said, I'm using warm greys to color all the kittens. The only thing that I am changing is how dark I go, so I'll have some that are a little bit lighter and some that are a little bit darker, and I'm trying to distribute them in the image in a way that the overall result looks pleasing. So I'm trying not to have too many very dark kittens all in one portion of the image and all the light ones in another. I'm trying to switch things up to create a little bit of variation, which in turn adds interest. The reason why I am only using warm greys rather than going for browns or creating ginger cats, which I really love, is that, well, first of all, I wanted to experiment with the color palette and see how interesting a card I could create by just using one tone for my kittens. And also, this makes things a little bit easier in terms of color choices, because you don't have to figure out a lot of color combinations, you have to just go lighter and darker, and this makes the process a little bit easier. In terms of the coloring itself, I'm using generally 3 markers to color each of the kittens. I am starting by adding the darker marker on the outer portion of the image, and then I am blending towards the highlights, first with my mid-tone marker and then with my lightest marker, and I'm leaving the centers, the lightest part of the images. This basically translates into having the light source coming from straight ahead, and it's also a very easy way to add your shading, because you will just basically follow the contours of your images and then blend inwards with progressively lighter markers. I am taking care of cast shadows, so if I have a kitten that is standing in front of another one, I'm going to have a cast shadow there. That is a shadow that is projected from the kitten in the front on the kitten in the back. And then I just took my time and I went ahead coloring this lovely image. I am now going to leave you with some music while I finish coloring up the kittens. I will speed up the video a little bit and make a few cuts here and there so that the video is not too long, but because this card is mainly about coloring, I didn't feel I should remove too much of it. Please do let me know if you would have preferred to see a bit less coloring for the video, if you felt it was a little bit redundant to see the entire image colored, or instead if you enjoy it as much as I do, because I really love watching people color. I also have another question for you. So you probably have noticed that I have a second camera. Well, you wouldn't know that I have a second camera, but you clearly noticed that I am shooting videos from two different angles and I'm mixing the two different points of view in my tutorials. And I wanted to know if this is something that you actually enjoy and you feel it adds value to the video, or if instead you think having a video just where the camera is on top of the desk is something that makes everything clearer for you. So please let me know what you think, because as always your feedback is very important for me and I really want to create content that you guys enjoy and find useful. Enough chatting at this point, I leave you with some music and I'll come back when I'll be adding a few more details to the coloring. Alright, so at this point the kittens were colored in. I also added some rosy cheeks to make them even cuter, and then I moved on and started coloring the hats, the presents, and the rest of the smaller images in this stamp. In order to bring in a little bit of a traditional color palette here for this Christmas card, I'm going to use some reds to color in most of the smaller images here. I have a list of all the markers that I used for the card in the blog post that is linked in the description box down below. The last set of markers that I used to color in this image are some blue-gray markers, so this is the BGR family, and I did this because I wanted to create a little bit of contrast with the otherwise warm palette that I have on these images. Also in this case, I colored some images a little bit darker and some images a little bit lighter, always sticking to markers in the BGR color family, and then once I was done, I created a mask for the image. For that, I stamped the same image on some repositionable packaging labels and I cut it out. I sticked it down on top of the image itself onto my card front, and then I moved on and created my background by doing some ink blending with my Studio Katia blending brushes and Spectrum Noir Harmony inks. If you are familiar with the Distress inks by Ranger, Spectrum Noir Harmony inks are pretty similar in the sense that you can blend them out very easily and they are water reactive, so you can use the same techniques like adding splatters that you use with Distress inks. I especially like the fact that they are nice and bright and I find that they blend really easily. The paper that I'm using here is Neenah Solar White cardstock, so it's not my favorite paper to do ink blending. I prefer Bristol Smooth cardstock because it has that sleek coating that makes blending so much easier. But anyway, you will see at the end of the video that after I have saturated the paper enough, I was able to get a very nice blend. The colors that I used here are Ocean Blue, Midnight Blue and Jet Black. I am keeping my lighter inks around the kittens and the darker ones at the edges. I'm going to actually darken up the edges with the Jet Black ink so that I get this nice and deep night sky. And by having the lighter colors around the kittens, I'm also basically creating a focal point for them and drawing the viewer's attention even more towards the focal image here. For the snowy hue, I used Spa Blue and my Studio Katia blending brush to add a little bit of shading to the edge of the panel, and then I'm using a finger dauber to create a drop shadow under my kittens, because this allows for a little bit more precision compared to a larger brush. adding a drop shadow will ground my image and make them look as they are part of the scene. And then I had to add some shimmer and some splatters using my Gansai Tambi starry colors. I use them a lot when I create galaxy backgrounds, Christmas cards, night scenes, because they are really gorgeous. They have a lot of different shades of silver and gold and they are super sparkly. I peeled off the mask and removed all the little pieces that didn't come off using my reverse tweezers. I've been using this tool a lot lately in my card making and I find it very useful. Of course, I had to add some sparkle with my glitter brush pen by scrapbook.com and a few highlights with a white Jelly Roll pen on the noses of the kittens. To make the images even cuter, I am adding also some dots around their cheeks, again using the same Sakura No. 10 white Jelly Roll pen. And then the next step was to work on the sentiment. I stamped one of the greetings in the Oh Kitty tree by Mama Elephant on some white cardstock that I die cut with the Heffy Doodle tag-along dies. I used Candy Apple by Pinkfresh Studios and then I adhered everything to my card base. I first glued down the card front, making sure that I align it nicely, and to do that I try to align the corners first and then I press down once I'm sure that everything is straight. And then the last step was to adhere my sentiment banner above the kittens. Here is the final result. Of course this card is very cute, it features a Mama Elephant stamp set, it cannot be otherwise, right? Don't forget that if you want, you can still join Get Cracking on Christmas. You will find all the details on Jen's blog, and I will have a link to that on my blog, which will be linked in the description box down below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for more card making and paper crafting inspiration. Thank you all so much for stopping by and have a great day.